Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. Excited to be back here with Berlyn, our hypnotherapist at Flagstaff Hypnotherapy. And it's been quite a few weeks. I'm glad we
Yeah.
are back here in session and joined by you. How have you been?
Oh, I've been doing great. My mom turned 90, and so we've been doing lots of celebrating.
God
Um,
bless. Wait, weren't you taking her away or somewhere special?
yeah, I actually did. I took her to Hawaii for a few days. She'd never been there. And then we had a
Oh,
big family thing here in Flagstaff. And then um, Tuesday, we're heading to New England. My mom is from Massachusetts originally, from Salem. So we're going to spend a week back there doing more celebration.
beautiful. So excited for you and for her. That's an amazing thing as a son to take care of that mama. I know the importance of that. So you are a great son.
Thanks.
And you are kind person. I've known him for quite some time now. And for those new time listeners out there saying, who's this guy that's really sweet with his mom? Don Berlin, tell us what you do and who you are.
Okay, well, now I'm primarily a hypnotherapist, and more and more I've also been teaching courses helping people quit smoking, dealing with stress and anxiety, and then some more specific continuing education things from massage therapist. I used to teach massage therapist, and I was a full-time physical therapist since '86, but lately I've been doing that just kind of a sideline.
Oh,
So
and how do
that's
we
about
find
it.
you? What's the website?
Oh, Flagstaff hypnotherapy.com.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And you're using the power of your mind to achieve your goals. And what did you kind of want to discuss for today?
Well, last couple times we've been doing some actual exercises, going through some things so
Yep.
folks can experience using their minds. And so, even though I'll be working with you as the model here, what I would encourage people to do is close their eyes, and when they listen to either this live or as a replay, just close their eyes and just listen to the instructions and let
Hmm.
themselves just follow along.
Okay.
And your subconscious will fill in all the blanks.
Okay.
And then because we're trying um, to rediscover certain emotional states,
Hmm.
then you get to pick your own. Okay. And I even with Jill with you, I don't even need to know what positive feeling you're going for. We'll do two versions. We did one last time, but we'll do this again. We'll do one indoors and one outdoors. And basically, we're going to get in. So the way this works in the big picture is getting in touch with every sensory modality you have.
Okay.
And then we'll look at your thoughts, which are your conscious mind.
Hmm.
And then we'll get into the emotions, which is your subconscious mind, recapture that positive feeling you're going for, and then be able to bring that to right now,
Okay.
as well as to project it in the future.
Yeah. All right.
And the amazing thing about all this, and it's kind of a shock to me, it's so obvious, but anyway, when I first learned this, is we actually have the power to choose the feeling we'd like to have.
Hmm.
So, for instance, sticks and stones can break my bones, but names will never hurt me. It turns out that's true. We can actually choose how we react to things. So, no matter how negative someone is, even if they're close to you or maybe they're your boss, you don't have to accept that negative message. And the other thing us humans do is we tend to run negative movies over and over and over about some bad thing from the past. And it might be even our impression of that bad thing. Like, we were some negative thing about ourselves. Um, but we have the choice. You can actually go back and you can tap into a positive memory and run that like a movie, and your body will react as if it's actually happening. So to go to the negative thing again, if let's say you feel something where you were depressed or something you felt really beat down, you'll actually start adapting that posture. You'll shrink down, you'll feel weak. Um, it might, I mean, because you're doing that, it's hard to take a deep breath. On the other hand, if you run a movie where you were successful at something, even though you're actually sitting in your chair at home now, maybe years later, when you go through that memory and tap into your senses, your doesn't know where it is in times or place, and it's going to give you the physical. So the physical body and the emotional body are related, they're connected, and memories in there too. So when you go back to these sensory things, your body's going to react as if it's actually happening. So maybe like you might feel really calm. So you're going to take nice deep breaths. Your muscles are going to relax. Your posture will probably change. If you're really excited about something, because you don't always want to go to calm, sometimes you might want to have a positive, um, excited feeling. Let's say you're going to do something where you actually need to be up. Like perhaps you're going to go on stage. You don't want to be too calm because then it's hard to project any emotion. On the other hand, you don't want to go too far with the emotion. So you might pick something where you're very successful and just get that feeling. And so your posture will be better. There'll be a certain amount of muscle tone. Your breathing um, will be a little more rapid. Your heart rate and your blood pressure are going to go up a bit because you need to be active. So you get to choose how you want to feel. And again, it seems like calm is always the default thing. And people listen to people like me and they always think they have to be calm, but you don't. You get to choose how you want to feel. So, yeah. And like the Olympics is coming up. So a lot of athletes use visualization. So they'll go back and perhaps grab onto a time when they're very, very successful. And of course, Olympic athletes have a lot of successes and they'll focus on that rather than a time maybe when they weren't successful. And they'll get that feeling in their bodies and in their mind. And then they can project it into the future. They can see themselves, on the stand getting the gold medal or, breaking through the tape or whatever it is with their sport. And their body will react as if it's actually happening right now. So it's very
I
timely
just
to
saw there's
get this.
something on Simone Biles that popped up on Netflix last night. I was excited. I want to watch it, but like the mind of an athlete, oh my goodness.
Yeah. And so to go further down this track, before we actually get to doing any exercises, when you see athletes, maybe they were average free throw shooters, for instance, and then they miss. Maybe they miss a couple times. And so when they go up to the line, in their head, they're saying something to the effect of, I hope I don't miss this shot. Well, the subconscious mind doesn't handle negatives. So what they just told themselves is, I'll miss this shot. And so they've already set themselves up to fail.
Yeah.
Whereas if they come in with um, the other message, even if they're not 100% positive, they could go as easy as, I hope I make this shot, or I could make this shot. And then as they get more confident, they can go all the way to, I will make this shot. So just to tell their subconscious what it is they want. I work with a lot of kids well, recently I worked with three people taking the MCAT, the medical exam, and to get into medical school. And, here's very successful people to even get that far, but they have huge test anxiety. And one of the messages they might have, and some of them do, is I'll help us finish this test in time because time's a big pressure. So they've already set up like if they give themselves the message, I hope I don't run out of time. Well, they've already set themselves up for failure. And so you can just change the message to your subconscious. Say, I will finish this in time, or I have plenty of time. You start feeding yourself the message that you actually want. And so there's all kinds of things that can go along with that particular population. You have to work with perfectionism too, because a lot of people get to that level, they're really stuck on being perfect, and you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be good enough. But that's a kind of another story. But I don't know, Jill, any questions or anything?
No, I just love it's so funny because I feel like mind, I always hear this word terminology, mindset, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like since I've been talking about that mindset, mindset, mindset. It was something I never grew up hearing. I didn't know anything about it,
Uh-huh.
but I know from talking to people like yourself in hypnotherapy and you really can transform. There's so many different techniques. And I just want to ask, your mindset every day. You wake up, you have a goal, you have a life, you have your family, you have your friends, you have your job. But how do you wake up, right? Because you're the hypnotherapist. Do you have to be in a certain mindset to prepare to help everyone else? Do you take upon people's burdens, or are you able to help with their anxiety, with their stress, or with whatever it is, and then let it go? Just curious how that affects you.
Yeah, actually, that's a good thing. And I saw this first of all with when I was in physical therapy. Um, People could take on other people's pain. So here you are, you're healthy. A lot of us were athletes, and someone comes in and they're having all this pain and they can't do stuff. And you're listening to their story, and you even put your hands on them, if you're not careful, you're going to absorb that negative message. And so you get dragged down and you don't even help the other person by doing that. So you actually create a mental barrier between you and the person you're working with. So you can't help them if you're all depressed and sad and feeling weak. Instead, you think about what the person might need from you, but you're gonna reflect it onto them. You're not gonna let them draw it from you, right? So you keep your energy in you and you separate yourself from their energy, whatever it is, and you do what you can to help them without hurting yourself. So when it works in the pure mental emotion world, what I'm in now mainly, is I have that same kind of barrier around me. Okay. It's a like a protective bubble. I can hear everything, I can see everything, but and I don't always succeed at this. Anyway, a process, I guess. Um, and some days I'm better than others. But you hear these really horrible things from people's lives. And and so I can't help them if I'm down to their level of being sad and in pain and all that. So I'm very empathetic to people, but I don't take on their stuff. And sometimes I have to remind myself because I do go down that rabbit hole of hearing this horrible story about someone. And it's like, oh my God, could someone treat a kid this way? I just have to back out of that and go, okay, I'm here now. I'm listening to their story and I can help them as long as I stay present and focused. But I get really excited when I get to see new clients or even old clients. Um, it just gets me up and just so I can be totally focused. I'm listening to their words. I'm paying attention to their posture and hearing their emotions. Um, and a lot of what I do initially, especially, is just listening, because a lot of times people haven't had anyone just sit there and listen to their story. So, or some people have heard their story over and over again, and they just are repeating their story without getting any kind of resolution. So when they come to me, hopefully they'll tell me their story and we can start looking at maybe different ways. And then when we get in hypnosis, they're actually experience a different reality about it, either in the present or sometimes going back into the past. And you don't change the past, but what you do is you can change the way you feel about the past, about yourself or about the world around you. So um, a pretty dramatic type example would be when I've worked with people who've had child abuse and sometimes physical or sexual and sometimes just mental on top of that. But they have certain beliefs about themselves, and kids believe that everything revolves around them. So if something bad happens, for instance, their parents get
Mm-hmm.
divorced, they think it's their fault, okay? And they accept that as being about them. They're a bad kid, or whatever happened is because of them. So abuse is the same way. Kids will accept that whatever's happening to them, they kind of brought it on. They either caused it or they deserve it. And so even as adults, they're carrying this guilt around, which actually isn't their guilt to have, but and this word's so overused, but inner child, their inner child is still part of us, right? Everything from the past is part of us, but we can go back and not change what happened, but what you change is
Yeah.
what you feel about yourself and what you feel about the world. So when someone's
Mm-hmm.
really young and something, bad happens to them, they might decide, well, I'm
Got it. Well, also, I just want to make sure everybody is aware. Are you with us? We may have just lost our guest. That happens sometimes. He's our hypnotherapist at Flagstaff Hypnotherapy.
and
Don Berlyn, are you with us?
oh, there you are. I think I
Yeah,
froze.
I just lost you for a second. That's why I said, "Oh no."
No, she
But
got very still on. You got
just need
very
to
still
remind
on the
everyone
screen.
how we can contact you, flagstaffhypnotherapy.com. So
Yep.
I lost your last few words there. But what else did you want to make sure we share for today?
Yeah, well, just going forward with the story about as children, we decide things about ourselves and about the world. And so if someone was to decide, I'm guilty, I'm a bad person, or maybe I can't do something because someone told me I can't do something, I'm not good, or you decide the world, and you may decide the world's not a safe place. Well, one of the practices I have, the person can go back in time and just examine what decisions they came up with about themselves and the world. They don't re-traumatize themselves by going through the trauma. And then as adults, they can go back and tell the young version of themselves, well, this is a scary time right now, but you will
Yeah.
be safe in the future. You give them that message. And you can also give them the message that you can let go of that guilt That
Ah,
guilt is from other people. It's not about you. And then you move forward in time and deal with those questions as they come up again. But you have the person be their own therapist in a way. So I'm coaching them as a therapist, and they're being the therapist to their inner child. So
beautiful.
anyway, that's one of the fun things I get to do, and I'm sure I'm way off on a tangent.
No, no, it's all good. This is your show. This is your time to shine, to talk, and talk about how you're helping people, which you love to do.
Yeah. So have you been? I'm guessing that I'm true on that, or I'm guessing this is true for you. Have you been an actress before? Have you been in plays and movies and whatever?
Yeah, a few little things here and there, nothing major, but yes, I have.
Okay. So when you do that, are you actually being yourself or are you somebody else?
Didn't hear you. One more time, say it again.
Okay. Yeah. So when you're doing something like that, are you being yourself? Are you Jill or are you being whoever the character is?
That's a great question.
Oh man,
You
it
become
froze
the
up again.
character, right? I mean, it's partly you, but you become the character. But it's still me. That's a good question. And I lost you again. The internet's sketchy. I don't know what's happening, sir. Sorry. Hello, are you there? Hi, I see you're frozen again. All right. And welcome back, Don Berlyn. Here we go.
Gosh, I'm not sure what happened there,
I
if
don't
it's
know either. We
my
got
end
some
or
connection issues, but that's okay. That's okay. We are back.
yeah. So anyway, so we were getting into the idea that you've been an actress before, and when you're performing, are you yourself? Are you Jill or are you someone else?
Well, that's a good question. I said, well, I'm pretending to be someone else, but I am still really me. So that's a confusing question.
Yeah. So when you're looking at the other characters,
Hi.
are you
Yeah.
looking kind of through your eyes or are you looking through the character?
Through the character's eyes.
Uh-huh. So you match the other person's like emotions and you have their story and you have their both their strengths and weaknesses, I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they're probably different than
Hi.
you, but what if you wanted to have their strengths? What if that's something you're maybe perhaps lacking in your own life, but you would like to have it with you whenever you wanted it?
How can I get it? What do I have to do?
Well, you've got to go back into that character. So is there a particular character you played that had some qualities that you'd like to have more of in your own life?
Oh yeah, this one woman, it was for some it was a gosh, it was so long ago. It was on CSI, but it was a small role. But
Uh-huh.
she was a mother who was a journalist, and it wasn't just me doing a journalist line. I was actually in my home before I went outside to do the reporting, and I was with my family, and
Uh-huh.
I had a little girl, and I was wanted a girl. So I was mother running out the door to go report on a story. So yeah, I can look at it that way.
Okay. So what was it
Yeah.
about that character that you wanted? What quality?
It seemed like she had a great family life and she had a daughter and a husband. The
Uh-huh.
things that I never had.
Okay. Um, yeah, so if you broke that down into some emotions, what emotions or what so not just the objective things, but what would you feel in yourself if you had that?
Love,
Hmm.
happiness, joy,
Okay.
fulfillment. Yeah, you got me
Okay.
thinking. I'm still thinking, Don.
There you go. And all that came from that one character? It doesn't have to, but
Yeah,
okay. So what was the character's name?
I don't even remember.
The mother journalist. Well, those
Perfect.
are-
Exactly.
okay,
I
but
don't rem
you yeah, it's not even important that you know the name because you know the character. So so close your eyes for a moment. Good. And then, as always, just take a few deep breaths, just kind of get yourself centered. And then when you're ready, let yourself go back in time. And it could be, you know, in this case, it might be a few years ago, but whatever it is, go back in time until you were that character. So there you are in CSI. and you're really deep into being this character. Okay. And now think of how she feels about things. You know her backstory. So kind of make that your backstory. So get into those qualities of love and support. And what it would feel like to have the family just the way you imagine it. And you're seeing it through her eyes and you're feeling it in her heart and in her body. And just start breathing that in. You're breathing her story into you
Mm.
so that it becomes part of you, it becomes part of your memory, part of your feelings, and it's there all the time. You can access it whenever you want. It's like a book in the library. So just breathe that in, what that feels like in your body, what that feels like in your mind, to have that love and support and the emotional and positive qualities that you want, that that character had. And you can be that character.
Mm.
You can see the world through her eyes. You can imagine going to the closet and putting on her clothes. You could even go to the closet and put on her person.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you can use this as a little meditation, perhaps, when you want to have that feeling. Just close your eyes, go back in time, re-experiencing that through, first off, what you would see
Ah,
at her world through her eyes, and then go deep and what would she would feel inside herself with those feelings. So anyway, how's that?
it was good.
Good.
I wasn't sure if I could open my eyes yet. Good.
Oh yeah, whenever you whenever you want. I tend to let people keep them
And
closed
I
if
don't
they're
know if you were frozen or I was frozen. I'm like,
yeah. I hope hopefully neither one of us was, although I do have to go talk to my cable company because this isn't the first time this happened during our sessions.
I know, unfortunately, but we're good, Don. We are good to go.
Good.
Well, we still have a few minutes left in the show. What else did you want to kind of walk us through today?
Well, I want to go I was going to go back to what we had done before, and we did it. You were outside at that time, and so what we could do is go inside of a building of some sort. So you don't need to tell me, but think of a positive feeling you'd like to have, and just let me know when you've got it. Something you'd like to have easy access to, that positive feeling.
Well, something I wish I, you know what, I wish I had. Well, we talked about like the family life aspect, but
Uh-huh.
that calm, that peace, that serenity of, but I think a lot of us have that. Like, oh, I
Yeah.
have the mortgage, I have the bills, I have all this burden. I would love to lessen my burden. And it's like, well, how do you do that?
Okay.
How?
Well, gosh, there's always more than one way,
I
which
know,
is what
right?
I
Tell
love
us
about what I
how.
do. Um, so we won't do quite this one thing because it involves moving around, which might be difficult for you. But let's just go back in time and close your eyes again and just take a couple breaths. Good. And then everyone's probably had a calm place in their life where they could be just in that moment. And last time we did outside, so I'll leave it up to you if you'd rather do an outside scene or an inside, but just see whatever comes up. A time when you felt that real calm feeling where you didn't have to worry about the future. You could just be totally present in that peaceful situation. And let me know when you're there.
Yeah, I'm there.
Okay, good. So is it inside or outside? You get to choose.
Inside,
Outside?
inside, inside.
Inside. Okay. So, what are you doing? Are you moving, lying down, standing up, sitting?
I'm sitting in my living room with my mother, with my baby.
Okay. And so you're going to go back and first off, we'll do visual. So, um, I don't know if you can see your feet or not, but you can probably see the floor and just notice the texture of the floor. You notice, is it wood? Is it tile? What kind of colors or patterns?
There's a
Is there a rug? just noticing whatever's on the floor. And
Yep.
then and then you're also looking down, so you can probably you may be seeing the baby. You might see your hands. And then you start looking around at eye level and you're noticing everything you can see. So you might see your mom. You can notice any furniture in the room and notice
Yeah,
anything about it.
the brown ottoman, the old brown IKEA entertainment center, the kids' toys. Yeah, yeah,
There
I
you
see
go.
it.
And then windows, drapes, doors, all the details, anywhere you can see them. Probably, I'm guessing, pictures on the walls. Um,
Hmm.
whatever you see, just kind of notice it again in great detail. And then look overhead and notice what you see. You notice the ceiling and, it may have a texture, might be the old popcorn stuff. But
Love it.
anyway,
Hmm.
noticing the ceiling and the colors, any textures, might be a light fixture, there might be a fan. You're just noticing whatever you see. And then noticing sounds. Just notice whatever you hear. Maybe the baby's making sounds. Maybe your mom's talking. Maybe there's a clock in the background ticking.
Yes. It was always so annoying at night, but yes, it was the, yeah.
There you go. So you hear all these sounds now. Good. And then there might be, I'm guessing there might be scents or fragrances. There might be something cooking in the kitchen. It might even have flavors. Whatever you're noticing in this moment, noticing all the details.
Hmm.
And then notice what you feel. It might be warm or cool. It might be dry or humid. The air might be moving or it's still. You might feel the warmth of your baby. You might feel textures from the couch. You might notice what your feet feel like and your hands, just noticing everything you can feel.
Yeah.
And then you can notice what you feel inside. You might feel really relaxed. You might notice your
Uh,
muscles are really relaxed. You can notice your breathing. Maybe it's slow or fast. Maybe it's deep or shallow. You're just noticing what you feel internally now. And then go to your thoughts. So tapping into your conscious mind, what are you thinking in that moment? So you're calm and there you are on the couch with your mom and your baby. And if there's any thoughts, you just notice what you were thinking.
hmm.
And then moving into feelings. So going deep inside now, noticing what you're actually feeling. And you mentioned calm before. A lot of things are a mixture of um, of words like calm, peaceful, relaxed, just whatever emotions that are there. Anything you can put a label on. And then letting go of labels, just concentrate on that feeling, a feeling beyond words. What is it you're feeling deep in yourself? And when you get there, just start breathing that in. Just breathe that feeling in. And when it gets nice and strong, we're going to add something to this. When it gets nice and strong, maybe put your thumb on, pick your non-dominant hand and put your thumb and middle finger together and gently squeeze those while you're breathing in that emotion. We're creating an anchor here. So you're breathing in, you've got that emotion, and you're going to lock it in by squeezing your thumb and your middle finger together. And as you're doing that, you're making that emotion deeper and deeper and deeper. Okay. And then for a moment, let go of the thumb and finger and let go of the thought, let go of the feeling, and then go back to it. Get back into the feeling, make it nice and strong. And when it's nice and strong, put your thumb and middle finger together. Good. Do that a few times. And then when you're ready, you can just let go of your thumb and finger.
Okay.
You can open your eyes and just take a few breaths and bring yourself to right now.
Ooh.
Okay. And now imagine you're in a setting where you had been worrying about things. So I don't know if there's a certain place in home where you sit there and you worry about stuff, or sitting in your car and or in your office, whatever you have.
Hmm.
I think your home and your office are the same because you don't go to the office, right?
No, most days, no. Thank
No.
goodness.
So if there's a certain place in your
But
house where
thank
it just
you.
occurs to you where you worry about things. So imagine being in that spot, if there is such a thing, and then start to go over your mind like some things you've been worrying about. And then when you've got some of those going and you kind of feel a little stressed about those,
Oh my goodness. We are out of time.
oh, okay.
We're at 4:06 Eastern Standard. Oh my, I didn't even realize because my eyes were closed. I apologize, but I would love to continue this, but oh my goodness, we have to go. I'm so sorry, Don. It's
Oh,
about to
that's
kick me
okay.
out for my next meeting.
Oh, sorry about that.
It's not your fault. This is great. I'm feeling good going back to the time where I was with my mom and my baby. And
Well, hold
thank
on
you.
to that.
I will. Can we continue on, pick up that next time?
We'll see you in a few weeks. Yeah.
Beautiful. How do we contact you?
Flagstaff hypnotherapy.com or just flaghypno@gmail.com.
Don Berlyn, Berlyn. Google him. Thank you so much, Don. I appreciate that
Oh,
today.
thank you
Have a
so much,
great
Jill.
day.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.